everyone. In my last controller video, I mentioned we were going to be talking about the DualSense Edge, which we've got right here. This is Sony's stab at the I guess, Pro controller series. I wanted to spend some more time with it. I know a lot of reviewers, when they came out with this, were rushing out to get review videos out and whatnot. I wanted to take my time and play a few games and get the feel for it. So I did that. I ran through 3 games on this controller. We did the Dead Space remake, the Resident Evil 4 remake, and Hogwarts Legacy. All pretty solid games. First off, the case is actually pretty cool. And then I'm dropping stuff inside now. It's a nice hard shell zipper case. It does allow you to charge when it's in the case, but you still have to manually plug it in the back. It's not like the Elite Series 2 controller that Microsoft has, where you just plug in the USB-C in the block in the back and you can just set it on top and it'll automatically charge. That kind of sucks. I wish this case did have that. It's a cool feature. But the controller sits on your basic Ps5 cradle charging style docks as well. So it's really not a big issue. So once you open the case here, yeah, I threw my paddles out of here. You get your controller. You'll have, there's another spot in here where the other paddles will be. So you get this is your little USB-C lock. You can plug it in and then lock it onto it so it won't accidentally disconnect, which is kind of cool if you play wired. Extra thumbsticks. I just left the stock ones on. I prefer these styles. These ones are your back paddles. I am not a fan of these. These were, for me anyway, were very easily bumped when you got on the back of the controller there. I was accidentally hitting them all the time. Then I switched over to the half nubs that they have on here, and I love these things. These things are awesome. I've not mistakenly hit them. They're right within reach. You're not accidentally bumping them. The other ones, they kind of set here. As for the controller itself, it's heftier than the PS5 controller. I like that. I like some weight to my controllers, as I mentioned in the Ghoulie Kit one. Your face buttons are just black and white. That's basically the entire theme. There's no colors other than black and white on this controller. You've got your one of these here is for like you can set up a hotkey for your profiles, which is kind of cool. If you have different profiles for different games, you just hold this down and hit one of the face buttons and it'll bring you to the profile you associated with that. I rarely use these. I set my controller up one way and I find I don't really jump around. I may alter my settings for what these are set up to. I wish it had 4, but I know the real estate on here doesn't really allow for that, as well as the Elite Series controllers, because I like to set up the D-pads on the back paddle systems. Just makes it a little easier to not have to jump your thumb over when you're moving your character around. You got your touchpad here, which on this one, if you, hopefully I can get it here, they got the cool little face button pattern on there, which they did maintain on the back side on your rubber pads here. I don't know if we'll be able to see it here on the camera because it's so much white. But if you look really close, you've got your little X circle squares. It does have a app that you use within the PS5 where you can customize your stick sensitivity. That's part of your whole profile setup, obviously. Triggers are nice and responsive. You have, just like on the Elite controllers, selectors here where you can change the pull length and shorten it down quite a bit. Supposedly the feedback of these controllers, you know, when you're shooting, you get that rumble in the controller. It's supposed to work with these. I've yet to come across a game where I noticed it. I generally play with it all the way to the shortest pull length. I like the responsiveness. It's got a nice clicky sound as well. And then if I'm correct, again, yeah, you have your face button grip on there. One complaint about this is this rubber here. It gets really dirty really fast and is kind of a pain to clean from the texture, but you can get it if you scrub hard enough. But yeah, these I'm not a fan of this rubber here. It's got I would prefer this being matte too, because this will show all kinds of fingerprints or light scratches. This got gloss black here. This does pop out, and you do have the ability to change out the stick modules. So if you get stick drift, you're not buying a whole new controller, you're buying just sticks. Now, from what I understand, Ghoulie Kit is making Hall Effect modules for this, so that would make the controller just even better. Just having Hall Effect, it's kind of annoying that these premium controllers don't have Hall Effect sticks from the get-go. It's really lame. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the controller. It works. It's a good controller. It's much better than the standard PS5 controller. It's heftier. At least that's a pro in my opinion. And I like the shorter stick pull. And I haven't had any issues with this one at all. You can also change, like, I guess if you have some stick drift, you can change the dead zone in the app. But again, these have been dead on since I got it. I got this at launch, and I haven't seen any issues with that. But again, when Ghoulie Kit makes those modules, that'll eliminate that completely. The big elephant in the room on this controller is battery life. It does suck. It will vary from game to game that you're playing. For example, Resident Evil 4, that game uses a lot of rumble features for the immersion on there. Each footstep kind of has a little rumble, so that's obviously going to eat more battery life. It's not a big deal for me, as I have, where I'm sitting playing, I have a, like, 6-foot USB-C cable that I charge my phone with, so I just plug this in and keep playing if it gets low or take a break. It charges fairly quickly, that I've noticed. I have one of the PS5 2 controller charging docks that I just set it on, leave it on there. But yeah, I mean, $200 is pretty pricey for this thing. But I'd say if you're not super concerned about the battery life, I would say it's definitely a good pickup, just for the ability to change these trigger pulls and the nice hefty feel to it, and having these back paddles. I know there's a lot of pro controllers out there that they're basically just PS5 controllers where they go in and modify them and add these paddles, whatnot. Yeah, I haven't tried any of them, because if I'm buying a pro controller, I don't want just a modified controller. For their first attempt, I think it's a pretty solid attempt. But yeah, the battery does suck, and that's a big concern for a lot of people. Again, for me, not a big issue. As for the paddles, these things are easy. They just pop right off and kind of magnet in there. But as an example here, you can see it's probably fairly easy to accidentally hit this one because of how far down it sits. And there's many times, I think it was on Dead Space, where I was accidentally tagging this one, changing things on my screen. So I don't run these. I like the paddles. So yeah, I mean, two big issues: battery and price. So if you're not too worried about the battery or the price, it's definitely a great pickup. Um, like I don't really score things in my reviews out of a number system. It's a worthless number rating at this point. Um, I would definitely recommend picking it up on sale whenever these drop on sale, if your price is a concern. But I'm pleased with it, and I haven't used the standard PS5 controller since I got this thing. Um, yeah, I definitely recommend it. But again, if it's the battery you're concerned about, uh, it's gonna die pretty quick. It'll vary from 5 hours to 3 hours depending on the game. Some games use a lot more controller features, and that obviously takes a lot more juice to power. So that's its weak point. So I guess that's it for my rant on this one. Like, subscribe if you want to check out more controller videos. I got a few other controllers I like to try out at some point. Otherwise, these are more rare videos that are going to be coming from me here. I'll do more game stuff, and then obviously I do a lot of the Subaru car stuff. So if you like these things, like, subscribe, helps us out. Thanks.